Okay, we're starting chapter 9, 9.1, scatter plots. So again, you can always look back at your textbook if you need more examples, more help, things like that. All right, so scatter plot. A graph that shows the relationship between two data sets. The two data sets are graphed as ordered pairs. So here is a scatter plot. So it says the scatter plot on the left shows the amount of fat in grams, so that's right here, compared to the number of calories here in 12 different restaurant sandwiches. So for example, this sandwich had 10 grams of fat and somewhere between 400 and 450 calories. So that's how we would be able to read this. All right, so we've got some questions to answer about it. So first of all, it says, how many calories are in a sandwich that contains 17 grams of fat? So if I'm going to find this answer, I'm going to find where 17 is. It's somewhere between 15 and 20 for grams of fat. And I'm going to kind of trace up until I hit one point. Once I hit that point, then I'm going to trace over to see about how many calories it is, which would be about 400 calories. 400 calories. Then it wants to know how many grams of fat in our sandwich that contains 600 calories. So this time I'm going to start over on the 600 calories, and I'm going to trace over until I find the point, and then trace that point down, and I can see it has about 30 grams of fat. So what tends to happen to the number of calories as the number of grams of fat increases? So as the number of grams goes up, what's happening? Well, the calories are also going up. So as fat content increases, calories also increase. Okay, a sandwich has 650 calories. Based on the scatter plot, how many grams of fat would you expect the sandwich to have? So 650 is right here. I'm going to trace it over, and you can see that I don't have a point that lines up directly, but I can see it's probably going to be somewhere right around here. And how do I know that? Well, I can see the general trend. It's kind of making what looks like a little bit of a straight line. So that general trend means it's going to be somewhere right around here. So if I follow that down, you can see it's somewhere in that range there. So I would say anywhere around 35 to 40, maybe 37 grams of fat, somewhere around there. Okay. So when I talked about how there was a general trend, the lines, you could see, you could almost draw a line and go through the data points there. That's called the trend. So what type of relationships do they have? So a positive linear relationship would be if you were able to draw on a line that goes through most of those points, or the general trend of those points, and it would have a positive slope, then that's a positive linear relationship. If the line that goes through the general trend of it has a negative slope, then it'd be a negative linear relationship. You could have a nonlinear relationship. You can see this one's more curved. Okay. Or you could have no relationship. That's where you can't really find a pattern at all to those points. I don't really know if it'd be better to draw my line this way or if it'd be better to draw my line this way. Can't really tell. So that would have no trends, no relationship. All right, so there's one more for you to do. In this one, you are making a scatter plot of the data. And then you're going to describe the relationship between the data. You're going to identify any outliers, gaps, or clusters. So the first thing I'm going to do is draw in a general grid here. I decided to go by 20s for both of my X and my Y axis. You can choose a different scale as long as you label it in. And then you're going to start plotting those points. So the first one is at 30, 80. So I'll go right 30 and up to about 80 and put a point. The next one's at 2074, so up 20, maybe around there. Next one's 6092, so right 60 up to about 92. Then I have 9097. And then 4585. 1062. 3083, so right 30 up 83. 7590. 120, 70, right? 120 up to about 70, and 80, 91. So right 80 and up to about 91. Okay. So we've got our scatter plot. Describe the relationship. So it looks like it's a positive linear relationship. You can see it's kind of going in that trend. So we could say it's a positive correlation. Okay, identify any outliers. An outlier is going to be one that's not really following the trend. It's kind of away from the others. This would be my outlier. So this would be my outlier. Okay, any gaps. So we can see that we've got gap. Kind of in this area here. Okay, and there's no real data points in that area, but then there continues to be more out this way. And any clusters. You can see there's kind of a cluster here, maybe a little bit of a cluster here. So we could label this part here as a cluster. It's where a cluster is where they kind of cluster together, where there's a group of them kind of together. We could probably say there's another little cluster here. Okay. So being able to read a graph, being able to tell what type of correlation there is, that's the main point of today's lesson. So take a second, write your summary, make sure if there's anything you have questions on, you're marking those questions down so you can get those questions answered.